Hey ballers, it's Horton here with another fundamentals video. So, to be clear, I don't really, I'm not a professional coach. This is stuff that I've kind of gleaned over the years, stuff that I kind of acquired kind of looking back on my days of doing a lot of coaching back in the 90s at my parents' ski school and thinking about all the bad things we told people, all the coaching that we gave that in retrospect, now I realize was completely wrong and counterproductive. So my apologies to anybody who came to Horton Lake Ski School between I don't know, 85 and 95. I'm sorry, we didn't know any better. So speaking of the 80s and 90s, at some point one day, we heard this thing that we were supposed to counter rotate. It was this big, new, magical thing that was going to make us turn. So we all practiced trying to learn how to, so if I'm going into 135, really take my right shoulder and pull it way back. And, you know, when you dig into the biomechanics of it, it is pretty arguable. I mean, it's easy to make the false argument about how important counter rotation is. The reality is, most people who literally try to counter rotate, or I want to be specific about this, ski out to the ball line, or they're approaching full width, and then take their outside shoulder and pull it back. Because if you stand up in your living room or your office, wherever you're watching this, and you try to do that, unless you really concentrate on not doing what's natural, when you take that shoulder back, you're going to move your weight back onto your back foot. And I think that hopefully by now we all know that's a bad idea. So, and I will confess, like, I know people are going to watch this video and then they're going to go find some video of me skiing and they're going to call me a hypocrite. If you watch me ski, especially on onside, so for me as a right foot forward skier, you will see my left arm way back here. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. And on my offside, when I'm skiing best, I mean, you'll find pictures. Somebody will dig this up. I've got my hand way out here, and I'm counter-rotating like crazy. I will tell you that I think that's detrimental to my skiing because I become unnecessarily impatient. I'm not so much back-footy, but I'm impatient. So when I finish, I'll finish in a hurry. So what is the right counter rotation? Because I know you watch the best skiers in the world, and as they come into the buoy, you will see the alignment of the center of their body going outward often. Not everybody, but I mean the examples are easy to find. And so what that really is for a lot of skiers, they're going through the wakes, and their hips are traveling in this direction, the boat's going that way, and as they come through center line and go through transition, they're keeping everything going away from the wakes. And so this hip direction is maintained all the way out to the ball line, and that becomes your counter rotation. That becomes you resisting your outward movement. So if you followed what I just said or not, the real message is you should never, it is not to your advantage to ski out to the ball line, however you got there, and then take your outside free hand and throw it back because it's going to put you on your back foot. Now, there's somebody out there that is going to tell me that when they reach, they're actually taking their inside shoulder, so as if I'm going into 135, they're going to take their inside shoulder and come forward. And I can't argue with that. If you do that and it increases the angle of your shoulders, fine, great. I'm just saying that most of this direction outbound really comes from your pelvis, and it's a continuation of what you do through the wakes. And again, you will see videos of me, somebody will find them, or pictures, where going into onside, well, actually, I'll tell you something I try to do, and I don't always do it successfully. where I'm trying to take the handle and keep the line tight, and I am trying to drive it forward, which you could argue creates a counter rotation. But generally speaking, when you do this, I'm going to move, my hips are going to fall back, and I'm going to end up tail turning. And you, while you're looking for pictures of me skiing, you'll see these pictures of me going around 2-4, and the handle's kind of up here, and I'm like, it looks like you can't really tell how I got into that position. That's me on the back of the ski, kind of out of control, because I've lost control back at the wakes. So there's all that. So literally, if you think you need to counter rotate in something you're doing with the ball, it's a misconception. And if somebody like me years ago told you had to do it, I apologize. All right, so that is counter rotation. So it kind of gets more interesting, actually, especially leaving offside. So you're here, and I guess I'm speaking from my own bad habits. I'm coming through 1-3-5, and my hands are pretty far apart. And so kind of one of the things that I figured out over the years, and I wish I knew who told me because I need to buy him a beer, is that as my hands get further far apart, at least for me personally, it's harder for me to resist doing this very quickly. And again, it's you see me do this quickly, and then what's happening is my shoulders are rotating faster than my hips. So let's talk about the shoulder rotation to hip thing. So referencing Jamie Bouchane, as in the last video, not really sure how he's getting in on my videos, but something that he did that was very distinctive was as he's at the ball line, I believe he was looking down the lake. In fact, it was a pretty common thing. I think Marcus Brown did it. A lot of guys back in the early, late 2000s were looking down the lake when they're turning and bringing the ski underneath the line. And one of the things that allowed them to do was to finish the turn in a really powerful stance. And that's awesome. Personally, that doesn't work for me. It's too extreme, and I don't really know if anybody does that anymore. But what it really does is it sets you up to move your feet and knees faster than your upper body. So as the ski flows through, your body is getting a little bit twisted, but in a good way, leaving you in a good position. Because here's what happens when you do just the opposite. If you're here and you bring this hand back faster, so I'm terribly inflexible, so I think this exaggerates the problem and is a good illustration. So as I leave my feet here and I bring my shoulders back, without trying, this hip is moving away. So I end up finishing the turn, and you'll see straighter front leg, compressed back leg, chest down. I'm in a terrible position. And that's literally caused by coming through the turn, bringing the shoulders around early and leaving my feet, this hip moving out a little bit, and it sets me up terrible. And again, if you go search the internet, you will find pictures of me, in this really awkward stance. I think it's incredibly common. But the solution, maybe it's hard to implement this in your skiing, but it's really not all that complicated to talk about. The solution is to find some mode, some thought pattern, and my thoughts or my mental keys on it may not be your keys on it, is to bring your knees or feet through the turn first, bring your lower body through first, and that's going to allow you to finish the turn tall and powerful with equal amounts of force going through both feet. Now, at this point, if you're a believer in the progressive load, or if you want to make speed immediately, whatever, you've got that ability. But if you do it the other way, if you're here and you bring your hand around first, you're a victim. You're just holding on to get over an onside. You're not going to make a lot of speed, and you don't have a whole lot of control. So my two keys from this video are: don't try to counter. If you really have trouble with width and you want more outbound, something that I'm not really an expert on, but something that we all should be pursuing, is keeping our pelvis heading in the direction that we're going off the second wake and resisting, you know, unwinding back to the boat or letting go of the handle early or whatever. So that the counter rotation comes from your pelvis. And then my other key is, especially over on offside, is that you want your feet or your knees, however you want to think about it, you want your lower body to be turning either at the same rate as your upper body or sooner. You never want your upper body to rotate faster. And I know that, you know, you guys will go out on the internet and you'll find pictures of Whitney Reaney or her brother J-Mac, and they're like this around the buoy, and they're some of the best skiers in the world, and they're amazing, and this freehand is doing all this wild stuff. It works for them. They're doing the right things, but it looks deceiving that they've got all this motion. I would really encourage you to be very constrained with the freehand, bring the ski through, hook up, go. So I hope this is helpful. This is Fundamentals Video 2, and thank you for your time.